Namaste, yogis, and welcome to the journey home. This is our book study. And so we have beautiful souls from around the world joining us. If you would, please leave a message in the chat. Let us know where you're calling in from. And so really, for those who are newer to Happy Jack Yoga University, each month we launch a different course. And so it could be yin yoga, it could be Ayurveda, it could be yoga for mental health, yoga for grief. But we're doing something very special this week or this month. We're engaging the book called The Journey Home. And so many of you are actually going to be joining us in Mother India in November. In fact, leave a message in the chat or raise your hand. Let us know if you're coming to Mother India in November. Oh my goodness, these beautiful souls all around the world. I love it. And so really this is our opportunity to prepare, to get ourselves ready. Some of you have been to India with us before. Some of you, this is your first time. And we wanted to, we're spending the time at Govardhan Eco Village, and we wanted to get to know the backstory and the inspiration that led to this very, very sacred space. And so I think because we've got a nice turnout today, is because we have a very special guest that we're going to welcome here in a moment. And really, so the intention of the call is to prepare for traveling to India, but also for those who may not be going to India, who are seekers and really finding your way and asking questions. That's something that I loved so much about this book. When I first read it a few years ago, I felt like, the journey that Radhanath Swami went on, where he met many different teachers and many different beautiful souls. And yet he really took his time. He really took his time in making a decision and in knowing what was right in his heart. And I feel like it gave me permission to do the same. And so really our wish for you as well, just looking around, I see Christians on the call. I see Buddhists on the call. I see atheists on the call here with us. I see Hindus, Muslims, and many of you are seekers. And so really wherever you are on your journey, just know that this book will welcome you exactly where you are. And so of course, we're very honored to welcome a very special guest today. And so I'm gonna bring him on as we say a little introduction. And so Radhanath Swami is one of the world's most beloved and respected spiritual teachers. He spent his youth traveling the world, experiencing its rich cultures and diversity. As he wandered, he was yearning to find meaning and purpose in life. Since meeting his spiritual teacher in India 50 years ago, Radhanath Swami has been on a mission to share the beauty of bhakti with the world. He's not only a guide, but a community builder, an activist, and a New York Times best-selling author. Radhanath Swami's message is as profound as it is simple. By cultivating a rich inner life of self-awareness and serving others with humility, we can become instruments of compassion and agents of sustainable change in the world. My friends, if you are ready to welcome His Holiness Radhanath Swami, please throw your arms in the air and loudly chant, Haribol! Hare Krishna, welcome Maharaj. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us. We've got all kinds of heart emojis. I love it. But we really appreciate this. We've just begun reading the text, and we're going to spend the month of September reading this. And it was just such a blessing that you gave us your time today. And it would be just really helpful as we prepare for reading The Journey Home, as we prepare for heading to Mother India. And for those who have got into the book, our journey over to India will be a little bit less treacherous, a little bit less eventful. But maybe just to open things up, what is on your heart at this moment as you think about the journey home, as you think about the ongoing journey and these beautiful souls who are soon going to be together with us in Mother India? What is on your heart at the moment?
Om Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjana Chalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Thank you. I'm so grateful to be with you today. I'm remembering soon after the Journey Home was published, I was releasing it in various places. And at the University of London, we had an event in an auditorium, and there was a couple hundred students and professors, and they asked me to speak some of the stories. And I explained how when I was 19 years old in 1970, how I had a calling and hitchhiked from London to India. And it took 6 months. And I spoke so many things. And after the class and the questions and answers, people came who wanted to have their book signed. And one girl, she was a student, a senior, and she told me that she was very, very interested in this story because she was the president of an organization called the United Kingdom Hitchhikers Association. And she said she wanted to take a group of her club on the same journey I went from hitchhiking from London to the Himalayas. And she asked if I had any suggestions. I told her my suggestion is you take your group and you hitchhike from University of London to Heathrow Airport and take a flight to India because times change and circumstances change. Hitchhiking through Turkey, Iran, Afghanistan, and Pakistan is not neither safe nor even possible in today's world. And just recently, um, I flew from Bombay to London, and it took 8 hours. And actually, the same exact amount of distance that took me over 6 months is now done in 8 hours. Uh, Definitely, the 8 hour journey was not as scenic, not as exciting or life changing, but it's definitely safer. The idea of pilgrimage is universal to all true spiritual paths. Um, in the in the Jewish and Christian faith, there's pilgrimages to Jerusalem, to Israel, to Bethlehem, to the places of various saints. And this is considered one of the holiest opportunities in a person's lifetime to take such a pilgrimage. In the Islamic faith, there's the pilgrimage to Mecca and Medina, which it is considered that anyone who is able to do so, it is their duty to do so at least once in a lifetime. Um, in the Buddhist faith, um, there's pilgrimage to Bodh Gaya, to Sarnath, the places where Lord Buddha had his pastimes and gave his teachings. In the Sikh faith, there's pilgrimage to Amritsar, to the Golden Temple. I remember some years ago I was there, and they they actually honored me by giving me a sword, a turban and a sword in the temple. And the only time I ever used that sword was to cut birthday cakes. I'm not so much of a warrior. But while I was there, I was talking to people outside of the temple, and I was meeting very, very prominent people from all over the world. Um, some were millionaires, even billionaires, heads of corporations, politicians, and they were spending the entire day um, washing and polishing people's shoes. Because before you go in the temple, you have to take your shoes off and leave them. And they would just be washing and cleaning and polishing everyone's shoes. And they, this was what they looked forward to all year long, to to get away from all their business and all their family responsibilities and just come to a holy place to do the most humble service for all the other people who are coming on pilgrimage. The idea is that those who are coming on pilgrimage, they're they're in a very sacred space in their life, and and to serve such people in the humblest way. And amazingly, when you come out and get your shoes, you don't know who shined your shoes or who washed them. It's there's no fame or appreciation. There's just this spirit that I'm coming to a holy place to serve. And of course, they go in for kirtan. They have kirtan from chanting of God's holy names from the morning till the night and hearing lectures. And in, of course, the yoga faith or the Hindu faith, there are people who go on pilgrimage to Tirupati, a holy place in South India. And many people climb the mountain to get to the temple. It takes many hours. Um, and then there's usually tens and thousands of people that are there every day, sometimes like 100,000 people. So you have to wait in line. The average pilgrim has to wait in line usually 5 or 6 hours before going into the temple. And only one person at a time stands before the altar. So you only get a few seconds. So standing in line for a few seconds. And I remember one very, very prominent person who's a dear friend of mine. He went there. And because of his prominence, the temple gave him a special escort to bring him right to the front. And with tears in his eyes, he told me, I told the temple, I want to wait in line with all the other pilgrims. I want to have the true experience that, standing and waiting. And while you're waiting, it's usually really hot. It's not like air conditioned. You're waiting outside and through different passageways. And it's babies crying. But the enthusiasm to not take it for granted, the experience we're about to be given. When there's difficulties in achieving things, we have a tendency by human nature to better understand its value, that we have to make sacrifices for it. When things come too easy, we have a tendency to take it for granted. If we're in the right spirit of mind, we don't have to do that. Pilgrimage is so sacred, so universal. And for those who are in the spirit of a real pilgrim, we find it to be one of the greatest blessings of our life. Some pilgrims go to the Himalayas. Um, high in the Himalayas is Badrinath, Kedarnath, Yamunotri, Gangotri, and for ages people have walked there, and the tradition is when you're walking to Badrinath in the peaks of the Himalayan mountains, it's very likely you'll never come back because the journey was so arduous that only some people would come back from that pilgrimage. Otherwise, others would give their lives in the process, due to wild animals and due to um, just the danger of being in such high places and cliffs. And now, of course, over the last like 40 or 50 years, you could drive to Badrinath, but it's still quite dangerous to make that drive. But when you get there, sometimes it's very, very cold. And when you go into the atmosphere, into the temple, um, it's a life-changing, holy experience for those who are actually seeking that life-changing, holy experience. Um, those who are Shivites, many go on pilgrimage to Pashupatinath, Amarnath in a cave in the Himalayan mountains of Kashmir, um, Varanasi or Kashi, holy place on the bank of the river Ganges. And those who are devotees of Ram go on pilgrimage to Ayodhya, Chitrakoot, Panchavati, Nasik, Rameshwaram. And for those in the tradition that I follow of bhakti to Lord Krishna, the holiest of all holy places of pilgrimage is Vrindavan. And then there is also so many other places. There's Dwarka and there's Mathura. When I first arrived in Vrindavan in 1971 on the day of Janmashtami, I had no idea who Krishna was. I had no real idea of what Krishna Bhakti was. I just somehow or other, I was on a train going from Pashupatinath in Nepal to Amarnath, which was the holy place of pilgrimage for Lord Shiva in the Himalayas. And in those days, it was third-class trains because sadhus had no money, and third-class trains were so crowded that it was impossible for a ticket collector to come in to take a ticket. So maybe the car of the third-class train may have a capacity of a couple hundred, and there was probably 3 times more the capacity. So you were just crushed. And I was crushed for about 30 hours without sitting down. And there was monsoon rains, and floods and in fields. So we were stuck in a field for about 24 hours. And finally, when the train started moving, it was a great relief, because when you're just stuck in one place and you can't move, especially it was really hot and you couldn't go out of the train because all around you was just flooded fields with snakes slithering around. It was quite difficult. You couldn't even go to the toilet because the toilet was just a hole in the floor and the water was coming up from the fields. So when it finally stopped at a station about 5 in the morning, um, I was so excited to go to Amarnath, because while I was in Kashi on the way, or Varanasi, I prayed at the temple of Kashi Vishwanath that please show me my path, because I was following and learning from so many different paths in my journey, and I loved all of them. And I had so much respect and gratitude to all my different teachers, but I really didn't know which one I should follow, because I understood we may appreciate many paths, but still to follow one path is what I had observed was the way that the people who were most deeply enlightened and deeply spiritually connected were people who really dedicated themselves to a path. And I just didn't know which path to follow. And in Pashupatinath, a man told me that if you go to Amarnath and pray to in that cave, then your path will be revealed to you. And on the way in Kashi Vishwanath in my prayers, I felt this voice in my heart that yes, my path will be revealed to me. And I was crying for direction. So this train, it didn't cost any rupees, but there was definitely a price to pay in the form of enduring the obstacles and the patience. So when we finally arrived at a station about 5 in the morning, I had to crawl over people's heads to get to a window to get out, because I just wanted to drink some water and breathe air. And within minutes, the train started moving, and I tried to get back in, and it was so crowded. There was no possibility of getting back into that train. Every window I tried to jump through was like hitting a wall of human beings and bouncing off. And the train left, and I was stuck in this mysterious, unknown place. It was still dark. And I was just standing there, kind of lost, wondering what to do, and wondering the next train going in that direction was about a day later. So I so I started walking around, and the railway platform emptied, and I just saw a few sadhus, or holy men. There were three of them, if I remember, and they were just sitting around a little fire that they built a little fire they built out of some sticks right on the railway platform. And I walked up to them just to ask where I was, and one of them stood up and welcomed me. He welcomed me with so much affection. He embraced me and he said, "Welcome." I said, "Where am I?" And he said, "This is Mathura, Krishna's birthplace. And today is Janmashtami, Krishna's birthday. And I am inspired to bring you to Krishna's very birth site. Would you like to come? So I came. And there were hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people gathered there. We got there early morning and we stayed there till midnight and the celebration was all day. And I heard so many things about a place close by called Brindaban. And um, I just wanted to go there. So I walked along the Yamuna River and arrived at this beautiful forest with beautiful temples called Brindaban. At those days, it was so simple. It was mostly pastures and forests and little ashrams and temples. And and I slept on the bank of the river Yamuna because in those days I was against sleeping inside. I felt sleeping inside any structured building was um, too much enjoyment. So I would sleep either in caves or on riverbanks or under trees. And I was going to go to the railway station after 2 days, to go back to Amarnath. But in the morning, when I was about to leave on the bank of the river, I couldn't move. I was the sickest I had ever been in my life. I had a very severe case of typhoid fever. And somebody just picked me up and threw me in an ox cart and brought me to a charitable hospital. And the doctor told me that um, they didn't have money for medicine. They just gave glucose water. And they told me that um, this this life of yours of traveling the way you do, you'll die. You have to stay here 1 month. And by the end of that month, I had chosen the path of bhakti to Krishna and decided to just stay in Vrindavan for the rest of my life. It completely transformed my heart, that experience. And the concept of Radha, the feminine motherly potency of Godhead, Krishna's Krishna and Radha are one, and Krishna is the supreme, and Radha are the supreme, the male and female aspects of the supreme, and that motherly, compassionate nature of Radha, who in Vrindavan is a gopi. And I'm speaking these words because 2 days ago was Radhastami, Radha's birthday. So I'm still quite affected by that day. But seeing the nature of these people's devotion and their humility, and in my travels and living in Himalayas, I saw people who had tremendous magical, mystical yogic powers to read minds, to perform what we would call miracles. And I saw people who were extremely detached and renounced from material pleasures, and they could live with their bodies in emaciated and tortured states. And I saw people who were very, very much, they just had no desires, no material desires. But when I saw the humility and the love of these saints in Brindaban, um, I came to the conclusion, this is the path I want. That this love for God, this desire to serve God, this this desire to live as an instrument of compassion of God's will in this world is the thing that I will accept as the highest aspiration of my life. And I guess what I'm saying is that pilgrimage completely transformed me. And, and I ended up like this. And I'm very grateful and I'm very happy. Krishna tells in Bhagavad Gita, Ye yatamam prapadyante tamstataiva bhajamyaham, that according to how we take shelter, according to how we surrender to our goal, that is how Krishna, or that is how God will reveal himself. That is how Sri Radha will reveal herself. Um, if we go on a if we go to a holy place as a vacation, then we'll get some benefits, but our experience will probably be that it was a vacation. If we go seeking relief from sufferings, we may get that. If we're going to seek the essence, to seek, purifying my heart and going deeper into my spiritual practice and really becoming transformed spiritually, then we can have that experience. In Sanskrit, there's a phrase, Saragrahi Janardana, that a true pilgrim is one who is always seeking the essence. If there is joy, we don't just get overwhelmed with the joy, but within the joy, we're seeking the essence of the gift of who is inspiring this joy with a grateful heart. And if there's tribulations or hardships or challenges while we're going through those difficulties, we're seeking the essence that I'm doing this for a higher purpose, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for this opportunity. So at the very heart of a pilgrimage is gratitude. Gratitude, anticipation, and a spirit that I'm going to seek the essence. In the Bible, a beautiful verse spoken by Lord Jesus, he said, "Seek and ye shall find." And that's a very, very deep statement. It's actually profound. What does it really mean to seek? It doesn't mean just like looking for your lost keys. To the degree we're seeking, in one sense, we can understand this word seeking in a deeper way. It means surrendering. It means taking shelter. It means really feeling a sense of hunger for what we're seeking. If you have no digestion and you're not hungry and you eat food, there's very little of the nutrients you can digest. But if you're really hungry and you eat food properly, then you can really digest and assimilate the nutrients of that food. So similarly, when we're really hungry for a spiritual experience, when we're really seeking the essence, when we're really grateful and humbled by the opportunity to make this journey, then not only when we arrive at that journey, but even the longing to go, the anticipation to go, and the arrival of being there can completely transform our hearts and nourish us spiritually. And this is why the idea of pilgrimage is so universally um, honored and worshipped in all traditions because it helps us to have a direct experience of what we're seeking. And it inspires and nourishes our faith. You know, historically, we're able to directly perceive the places where the great saints and the great incarnations have lived and have performed their activities and performed their pastimes. Um, and I remember one time, one beautiful lady, her name is Hladini. She passed away some years ago. Um, One of my very worshipped god sisters. Um, she was reading about Krishna and Krishna's pastimes for so many years in America, and um, somehow or other, after about 20 years, she came to Vrindavan for the first time. And we were in a little mountain in Barsana at the place where Radharani and Krishna would perform beautiful leelas, pastimes. And it was a remote mountain. And we were, um, the place that we stayed, there were several of us, were just in this ancient, dilapidated stone structure. And the floor was just the dirt. And you just slept on the dirt floor. And I slept outside under a tree. And I remember she was crying literally in ecstasy. She couldn't even speak. She was so overwhelmed that all of these places I've been reading about, I've been hearing about, I've been meditating on, I'm here, I'm seeing them, I'm feeling them. She wasn't just seeing the place, she wasn't just seeing what the eyes could see. She was seeing through her heart. She was seeing through her love. She was seeing what uh, a tourist cannot see. We could see the same tree, or we could see the same water, and a tourist is seeing a beautiful tree or water, or maybe even a polluted water and and a tree that's unkept. But she was seeing something through her faith, through her devotion, through her gratitude. She was seeing the spiritual world. And I learned so much from her. So going on pilgrimage really is a beautiful opportunity. And to the extent we really see it as we really appreciate it as a spiritual opportunity, as a blessing, as to anticipate it and to prepare ourselves that whatever the experience may be, I'm going to just be grateful. Sometimes when you get to a holy place, if the external experience is kind of disappointing to you and you go deep into the gratitude of really why I'm here, then the experience becomes transformed into the most wonderful thing you've ever um, been given in your life. And when you come to a holy place and everything is just wonderful, um, we shouldn't get carried away by that external feeling. We should understand that this wonderful feeling that's there is is a particular form of that's been given to open the doors for me to go deeper through my prayers, through my spiritual practice, through my chanting of the holy names, to and especially through my desire to serve. While I'm here at this holy place, let me come as a servant. Let me come to as a beggar for the opportunity to serve with love and devotion. And Rasananda, oh, Happy Jack, you have asked me to share my heart. And I did not prepare anything for this, but somehow or other, I shared my heart.
And we felt it. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you for your presence. Just being in your association has calmed my nervous system and activated the parasympathetic nervous system. So thank you for that, and for giving us a perspective that this is a pilgrimage. It's not just a yoga retreat. It's not just an a flight to the other side, to India, but really, thinking about what is the spirit. What is the spirit of this adventure? And so much of what you shared, I'll be brief here, but so much of what you shared about your experiences through India 50 years ago are what we experience now at Govardhan Eco Village. When I sit down and as a pilgrim and I'm receiving prasadam, the lunch or the breakfast, and those who are serving are medical doctors and corporate lawyers and engineers and nuclear physicists and MBAs and accomplished people that made a life in the material world, and they've been attracted and they've been inspired to come and be a part of something bigger. And so it's beautiful what has been created there, and to also know that these different sacred places in Vrindavan are also recreated at Govardhan Eco Village. So it's everything that we've been hearing Maharaj share about we'll actually get to experience in November. But maybe I'll sneak in one quick question and then we'll take Q&A from the audience. But really, how do we know if we're progressing on our spiritual path? Because it can be easy, or perhaps our journey is not as eventful as yours. And in today's day and age, it's easy to compare on social media and that kind of thing happening. But how do we really know if we're making progress on our spiritual path?
Thank you. There's two levels of spiritual progress. Well, of course, there's many levels. But when we have good association with people who are authentically presenting, true spirituality, in the Bhagavad Gita, there's the recommendation of parampara, where we're following a true and genuine lineage of spiritual teachers who are authentically presenting exactly what has been given in essence, throughout the ages. What is the goal and how to achieve the goal. There's three principles. There's the sadhya, which is the goal of our spiritual practice. There's the sadhana, which means our spiritual practice. And there's the sadhaka, which means the practitioner who's following the path. And when there's an authentic path and we're sincere to follow it, to our ability. And of course, according to time, place, and circumstances, the methods and the ways of following different path, our path may change, but the essence remains the same. The package may be packaged according to time, place, and circumstance, but the content within the package is something that is beyond time. It is the eternal grace of God that we're seeking, and that the means by which we could really connect to that grace of God. So when we're following an authentic path sincerely, um, then we know for sure we are making progress.
Mhm.
Um, when we have a chronic disease for a long time, it's not that the first time or the second time that we take the medicine, we feel better. But we know that the medicine is the right medicine and the teacher is the right teacher. And, with by by association of people who we feel spiritual camaraderie with, we help each other with our faith and our enthusiasm, and we know we're making spiritual progress because it's not just a matter of how we feel, but it's a matter, is what I'm doing samsiddhir haridotoshanam? Is it pleasing to my beloved Lord? And and what pleases our beloved Lord is what our path is. So when we're doing that, we know that we're making progress. And gradually, it could be quickly, it could be gradually, depending on the grace we receive and depending on our particular position. Um, we begin to feel the inner joy of spiritual reality. We start to feel less attached to the external stimulants for happiness, and we become less dependent on external situations and external pleasures, for our inner fulfillment, but rather we find within our own hearts and within the expression of our own hearts through our service, we're feeling, when we're chanting God's names, we begin to really feel the presence of God. When we're serving the Lord, we really feel that a reciprocation within our heart. And that inner joy is hundreds of millions of times more real and substantial from the external pleasures we're having in the world. And it's only because our soul has been covered by this ego, this false ego, that we're trying to find the joy of the soul, which is that unity, that yoga with the Supreme, with Krishna, um, where we're feeling Krishna's love and we're reciprocating with our love. And that love is all encompassing, because to love God means to love the presence of God in every living being and to be an instrument of compassion. That's the joy of the soul. It's the only joy of the soul. And forgetful of that, we're trying to find that pleasure of divine love in the various experiences within this temporary world. But when we actually, little by little, start feeling the experience of that inner joy of God's love within our heart, then we really, really know for sure that, yes, we are making spiritual progress.
Beautiful.
And until then, um, because it happens, sometimes we just get little bursts of that experience, but then our habits and our conditionings in this world become very much apparent in our lives. So we, if we're regularly with people who are inspiring us and regularly, faithfully following through our spiritual practice and through our character and life and through our aspirations. Um, Even if we're not feeling anything, we know we're making spiritual advancement.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. And I see a really a beautiful question in the chat. And so I'd like to bring our friend Sue on the line here as well. Sue had asked, she said, if one is unable, or for whatever reason, to physically make a pilgrimage, what could they do? What sort of thing could they do would be the next best thing? And I'll just say Sue is always at our Canadian retreats. She's a fellow Canadian, and she's there always. And when we're in a circle, so she has Parkinson's and uses a walker, and she always sits in the circle with us and does what she can. And she was signed up to join us in India, but it just feels like a little bit too much to make the trip this year. So I guess the question is, what can Sue do? What can many of us do if we're not able to make that particular lifelong pilgrimage?
Essentially, the pilgrimage is an internal experience. The practice of traveling to a holy place and oftentimes enduring the hardships of getting to the holy place, and the practice of being grateful and appreciating and serving that holy place and worshiping in that holy place and feeling the presence of the history of God's grace in that holy place. Ultimately, it's the internal experience that nourishes our soul. And we can make that same pilgrimage in our little temple room at home. If we're really striving for that spiritual experience. I remember in 1972, my visa ended. I had to leave Vrindavan. And I was in a place in America, and I couldn't go back for many years for various reasons. But every day, for about a half hour, besides my, doing 2 hours of chanting my japa, the Maha Mantra, and doing kirtan and all those things, before I would eat, I would sit and meditate on the places of Vrindavan that I knew, and just internally be there. And it was a pilgrimage every day. And I felt in my longing to be there and in the present, and even beyond the longing, in the meditation on on the teachings and the places that I experienced when I was there. I was there. I went on a full pilgrimage every day for years without even leaving my room. So if the opportunity and possibility and ability is there to go on pilgrimage, it's a beautiful, wonderful experience and a great gift. But if we're unable to do that in our own room, if we're really in that prayerful mood, to go deep into our spirituality, to meditate on these places of the Lord's presence, then that's actually a full pilgrimage.
Thank you.
And when people come back from the pilgrimage and they tell you all the experiences they had, actually, by just hearing with a grateful heart, you've taken the pilgrimage with them. Internally, it's a fact.
Thank you.
We can go on pilgrimage every single day of our lives just through our meditation.
And you'll definitely be with us, Sue, and we'll be back together here in Canada soon. Thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Let's send our love, gratitude. Sue representing Team Canada. Beautiful. I think we can maybe get one more question. I'm gonna choose some of the yogis who are coming to India. Let's get the Sarah and George from UK, And I just want to say, first of all, for those who are part of the Bhakti Yoga Conference, we'll recognize Sarah and George. We're very active and engaged, and beautiful to have you here. And thank you for the amazing seva that the two of you have done these past few months with the community. And I just got a shout out both of you, and in particular, Sarah is reading the entire Srimad Bhagavatam, and her goal, all of the verses, all of the purports, and goal is to have it done before arriving to Govardhan Eco Village in November. That's quite a commitment, and it's beautiful. And what would you love to ask?
Okay, thank you. Thanks for picking us, Jack. Yes, I'm on track. I'm on 10 Canto 4, so I'll get there. I'm really looking forward to coming and meeting you, and I was really inspired, actually, you talking about pilgrimage, because we were obviously looking forward to coming, but you've kind of changed my mindset a little bit about the attitude to come to GUV, so that was great. Thank you. So my question, I'm rereading your book. I've read it before, but we're going through it again for the course. And your story is full of moments of surrender. And looking back, what do you think is the hardest thing that you had to surrender along your path, on your spiritual path?
Distractions. This world is filled with distractions. Sometimes the distractions are in pleasures, and sometimes the distractions are in pain. Sometimes we're distracted by honor, and sometimes we're distracted by dishonor. Sometimes we're distracted by success, and sometimes by failure. So there's so many distractions in this world. And in our journey within this material existence, we have been habituated to so many distractions. In fact, we depend on these distractions. We're seeking these distractions. And by association with people who really inspire us, it helps us to have faith in our own spiritual practice and in the values that our spiritual practice awaken within us, so that we focus on that. In one sense, surrender is to focus.
Yeah.
To focus on what is of really true value in my life, and the goal and the practice to reach that goal, to focus on that. And then through our lifestyle, when our spiritual practice charges us with that spiritual inspiration, with those spiritual values, and then it empowers us to live with these values and characters in our lifestyle, and to be focused on that, and not to compromise our values due to the distractions that are all around us and within our own minds. So it's important to remain focused.
Yeah, I mean, you can't do everything, can you? You have to focus on what you deem is important, and spirituality is very important to us. So thank you for coming today. It's been great to have a chat.
Thank you, Sarah. Actually, in Sanskrit, the word Sarah means essence.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
And the word Su means pure and good.
Wow. Beautiful. Thank you so much. Well, let's send some love, gratitude to Sarah and George over in the UK. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for your time, Maharaj. We want to be respectful. We could obviously continue to relish your teachings and sharings for quite some time. And again, so for those that would love to continue reading with us, we're going to be reading this book for the month of September. If you'd love to join us at Govardhan Eco Village, we'd love to welcome you. Hannah will share some links in the chat. And if anything, join us again for the Bhakti Yoga Conference next spring. Again, Radhanath Swami and many other beautiful spiritual leaders will be joining us. And enjoy happy reading or happy listening for those who like to do it on the go. If you were to leave us maybe with some parting words, Maharaj, as we step into our the distractions of life as we continue on our journey home, what would you leave us with?
Actually, I'm seeing on this screen one of my very beloved worshipped god sisters who has joined us, Manjuali Devi from the UK. And her intuition, her realizations are so priceless. Could we ask her to give some closing blessing words for us?
That would be beautiful, please.
Oh, Maharaj, it's wonderful to be here. And hot seat again. Oh, thank you so much for the wonderful talk about pilgrimage. And actually, what I really loved was how we have to go for the essence. And the essence is to be present with ourselves and our humanity and our divinity. So we all carry the divine and we carry, our humanity, and we carry the desire to come close to God. And a pilgrimage is such a wonderful opportunity to make that step and to enter into the place of wonder and the place where we let go of our preconceived ideas and we come to the place of just following and listening and being present to the divine that's all around us and is welcoming us. So as we all go on this pilgrimage and we read the book and we dive into the path of bhakti, we do it as a group of souls, eager to find why we're on this planet, why we are here at this moment in time, because this is such a gift, actually, to have community and to have fellow travelers who are opening up to the new possibility of a loving relationship with the Lord and with each other, and to share that joy. So pilgrimage is, as Maharaj said so beautifully, is the opportunity to surrender, to let go, to be present, and to be prayerful and humble and full of gratitude when we enter the space of pilgrimage, because we do it with our open heart, our clear mind, and all our broken bits as well. We all have room for improvement. We all have our shadow that we carry with us, but our shadow is healed by the grace of our Guru. So you're all going off to the eco village. You're going to Ma, India, to put your head on that holy land where Krishna walked 5,000 years ago and where he is present today as well. So, Maharaj, thank you so much for sharing with us your story. And we wish everyone that actually, as all the words that Maharaj has given us today land in our minds and our hearts, that we can actually take that step and deepen our love and appreciation and wonder that the mystery of Krishna consciousness is live and we are all welcome to take it deeper. So thank you, Maharaj, and thank you, Happy Jack, and thank you, everybody on this call. Hare Krishna, enjoy and have a wonderful, blessed, and holy pilgrimage. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Actually, everything I was trying to say, you just said. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Maharaj. It's a joy to see you and to connect with the community of Happy Jack. I'm just on the, thank you.
Wow.
Manjuali Devi is very, very dear to my guru, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. She did such wonderful personal services for him, and I'm forever indebted. And I'm forever indebted to you, Rasanandaji, Happy Jack, for so kindly giving us this wonderful opportunity to be with these beautiful people. And the best blessing I have is the Maha Mantra to offer you. Let us sing together. Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare
Krishna,
Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And our Govardhan Eco Village is a humble attempt to try to provide an atmosphere where people could really spiritually grow and learn, the values of living in harmony with nature, with with our own spiritual nature. And when we live in harmony with our own spiritual nature, naturally that's expressed by the value of honoring the nature of the world all around us, the ecology, the environment, and humanity beyond all sectarian and all the divisions and differences of ideologies and races and religions of this world. At the essence of it all is that this earth is God's creation, and every living being is a child of the Supreme, and to learn to honor and to serve and to love is at the very heart of real dharma or spirituality.
Wow. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you for inviting Manjuali Devi Dasi. I understand now such beautiful, beautiful words, and our hearts are full. We're eager in anticipation to be together at Govardhan Eco Village, and in the meantime, we get to continue on the journey home. So everyone here, please join us for the next 4 Tuesdays. We'll be sharing our reflections and inquiries as we continue reading together. And just thank you so much. So let's sending our love to you, Manjuli Devi Dasi, and friend. Thank you for being here and sharing. And thank you, Maharaj, for your time and your association. And wishing everybody an amazing rest of the day. And actually from here, Hun and I, we on the same Zoom line, we continue right into our weekly Happy Jack Yoga podcast. So anybody who feels free, feels welcome, feels inspired, stay on with us. No doubt we'll be reflecting on what we just got to receive from Maharaj. But wishing you all an amazing rest of the day. And we will see you very soon. Hare Krishna.